All righty, right. Tune in a few minutes early, get everything going, make sure we got no technical difficulties. Couldn't do it outside because it is pouring here in New England. All right, Big Dave, bring you on. What's up, everybody? Wild Bill, Smoke Your Bourbon, Stephen Pratt, what's going on? Thanks for joining, guys. Bug, what's up, buddy? Big Paul, Niner Nation, baby.
Hello.
There he is. Oh, let me get, I switched to my iPad. Since I'm inside, I don't have to worry about the wind blowing it over.
Yeah, Craig, I thought we were going to be like mailman. Rain, wind, sleet, snow. We hit snow last week in week 1.
It was kind of shaping up to be that way, but I was hoping that I'd get a little break in the weather, but no such luck. So,
hi, Hatim.
Hey guys.
Hatim, what's going on?
What's I doing, Craig? Hi, Dave.
Good. Betty, what's going on? Dez, yo. All right. Well, listen, I got 2 minutes till, but as my old sales teams used to say, I used to say, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, don't even show. But look at this. We're all early. We might as well get rolling here. What do you think, Dave?
Sounds good to me. I'll tell you, I've got a lot of cooks to go for the next few days and this weekend. How about yourself?
So, yes. I think we finally get a break in the weather tomorrow. So my plan is to fire up the Art of Flame. But I also did, at the beginning of the week, I did a couple of fun cooks. See if I can remember. Oh, I did have the Art of Flame fired up to do some burgers, nothing special. And then I did, I got lucky because listen, these days, I think every day is a national holiday, right? Something is going on. But I got lucky because I had a prime rib in the freezer and that I kind of forgot about. And Tuesday, I believe it was, happened to be National Prime Rib Day. So I got lucky that I remembered it like on Friday. So I was able to bring the big old prime rib out of the freezer, throw it in the fridge, let it defrost as it should, and was able to do a nice prime. I hadn't cooked a prime rib, I think, since last Christmas. So that was kind of fun.
I'm surprised the meat like that lasts in the freezer in your house.
What's that? I'm
surprised meat like that, you must have been forgotten about or got covered up to last in your house.
I have a problem, as most of us do, is that I've got a freezer that's about 75% full of meat downstairs in our basement, and I still want to go to the butcher and get something new. So, my wife keeps on telling me, you got to cook what's in there, and I said, yes, dear. And then I see, Alpine Butcher post these beautiful Denver Wagyu steaks or modern, but and I got an issue. I got issues.
We all do. That's the important thing here. I had fun with some ribeyes the other day, actually, on the Art of Flame with some great vegetables. But I also did, which was fun this week. A lot of you have probably done fully cured egg yolks, and you shave those on things. I did soft cured egg yolks. Now, they're not for everybody, but I love eggs. I love a little bit of runny yolk. So it gives you that, it's almost like a gelatinous, hard to explain, but just a flavor with the ribeye. You put a little chimichurri in that bite too. Oh my goodness, it was so good.
Those looked ridiculous.
It was crazy how good it was, and it was so hard to take pictures because I just wanted to tear into it. But so I took a couple quick ones and went to town. This rest of this week though, I've got a cooking competition where I've got to cook a white meat, and they said cook a white meat and a side. Now I'll ask all of you out there, and Craig and as well. See, to me, a side could be a ribeye. Maybe
sure.
Maybe that doesn't qualify, but I'll have to check with the rules. But a ribeye or a lobster tail, to me, that's a side.
Right.
So, but but we'll see. And then I've got a duck to cook this weekend, and going to do another fun cook on the Art of Flame with some actually veal meatballs from BillyDoe meat as well.
Nice. Nice.
But
well, a lot of cooking, and
oh yeah,
hopefully the weather holds out in your neck of the woods and in my neck of the woods, and we can get out and have some fun. But
holds out or gives us short intermittent periods, we take it. You know,
I'm fine. Listen, I'm fine with that. And I cook when when it's snowing outside. Heck, I did our first podcast last week. We had some we had some snow flurries going on out on the deck. So it happens. But listen, I'd rather be out there when it's snowing a little bit or even sleeting to a certain degree than full on rain. Then you just get wet. But
yeah,
it did not stop me from cooking today.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, I'm not gonna show it quite yet because it's wafting up right here, and I've been just eating it straight out of the. Well, I'm not even going to tell what I'm doing, but we'll show those at the end.
Well,
but it ties right into a friend of ours that's joining us today, right?
And I'll tell you, for all of you on now too, and stay on while we talk to him and others that jump on. For someone who's on live today, they're going to get a gift certificate for $100 from BillyDoe Meats to try some amazing food. We're going to talk to him, and he'll explain a little bit about what they're like and how they do things and why the food we get from them is so good. But we both did some cooks with their meat that we'll tease you with later. Craig might have eaten it all by the time we get to that point, but first of all, Hatim, thanks for joining us. He's with BillyDoe Meats, and I was fortunate enough to somehow run into those guys about a year ago. Didn't even know they lived real close to me until after I tried the meat and said, this is amazing. But I'm glad to be able to call them friends there as well now, and that's just because of the way they do business. But why don't you tell everybody, Anthony, how many years you've been in business, how you guys got started in the meat business, a little bit of your story, and where you're located and what you guys do.
Sure. First, I'd like to say thank you for having me on, guys. And thank you for the opportunity to tell us a little bit more about our company and what we do. So we at BillyDoe Meats, and our specialty is in lamb, goat, veal, and beef. And we started about 22 years ago. Now, my uncle started this business in 1999, and his goal was to provide quality meat to the Chicagoland area, lamb and goat, because at the time there weren't many people offering Zabiha Halal meat, lamb and goat to the community. And it was really hard to find, stuff that wasn't imported from New Zealand or Australia. It was just really hard to find quality products. So he started it about 22 years ago. And over that time, they basically expanded the business to sell to grocery stores, restaurants, and it's a huge community, there's a large group of people they sell to. And the location of the harvesting facility is, if anybody's familiar with the Chicagoland area, it's about 20 minutes west of Rockford. So from the actual city of Chicago, it's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes away. And that's when the actual harvesting company started. Now, BillyDoe Meats started about 3 years ago. And it started from the idea that my uncle wanted his kids, which are my cousins, and us to start a business where we could process meats like lamb and goat and veal and stuff like that to these grocery stores because of there's a dying breed of butchers and stuff like that in the grocery stores. It's just harder and harder for these guys to cut up their meat for their customers. So that was our original plan, was to start a processing company and become a distribution kind of point. But as we first started the business, that was our goal. But as things happened, things changed all the time. What we started realizing was that a lot of customers were coming to us directly and asking, call us and say, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And we'll be like, well, we don't really sell to customers. That's not what we do. We basically do um, distribution. And long story short, we started getting more and more people asking. So we said, okay, let's start looking into building an online website. So me and my cousin Huda, Dave, you've talked to her, and Art Flame has talked to her, and I think Craig, you've talked to her too.
Yep,
And
yep.
yeah, she and I used to go to the library. This was like in 2019, I think, or 2018, the end of 2018, 2019. We started sitting in the library and just um, trying to build the website, trying to understand how to do stuff. Let's start e-commerce. And it took us some time, but we ended up building a website. And then we started very small, like just started offering small cuts, small stuff to people and seeing how people would like it. And we got some success, some sales. And then, long story short, we ended up getting a call for somebody inviting us to a farmer's market. And when we ended up going to the farmer's market, there was a huge, like a huge response to us there. There was a lot of people looking for quality lamb, quality goat, quality beef, quality veal, and there were no options. And then one thing led to another, and it just started. The online business started to grow, and then we ended up morphing away from becoming a distributor to more directly to the consumer. And that way, we basically cut out the middleman, and we ended up just going directly to customers. And that's basically how it ended up transitioning from, where we originally thought we were going to be and where we are now. And the thing about us is it's a family-owned business. It's just me and 3 or 4 of my cousins and a family friend. And then my uncle is he's the consigliere.
Yeah, that's right. Is he the Godfather?
He's the Godfather. He's the one who sits on top. And I mean, I'll give him all credit because he lets us do whatever we decide to do. We are a committee of, me and like I said, me, Huda, and her 3 brothers. We are the ones that are basically point in the direction that we want to go with the company. So, and he basically just tells us, based on his experience, what he'll tell us is based on my experience in 20 years, this is what I would suggest for you guys. But essentially, he wanted to build this for his children and his family. And that's basically what we started the business for. And I'll give you a little story about when we were kids, because we've been doing this for a long time. When we were kids, we used to go to the we used to go to the harvest. sorry for the squeamish out there.
Hey, let's keep this PG. Okay,
sorry.
PG. No.
When we first, this is a true story. Okay, so when we were kids, we went to the harvesting facility, and my uncle was like, there was like 6 of us. He said, okay, 2 of you are gonna go to the farm, and 4 of you are gonna go to the harvesting facility. Okay, so we're gonna play rock paper scissors, and whoever. Now we're all fighting to go to the farm. We're like, man, it's gonna be a cakewalk. It's easy. There's nothing there. It's gonna be fantastic. So long story short, my youngest brother and my uncle's oldest son ended up winning and going to the farm. So we ended up working a long day at the farm, a long day at the harvesting facility from like 6 a.m. whatever until 6 p.m. And then on our way back, we went to go pick them up from the farm, and we're like, man, those lucky guys, all they did is nothing, blah, blah. It came out. It was like really cloudy, and it was kind of drizzling. And I'm like, oh, well, that's okay. We pulled up. This is a true story, okay? We pulled up to the farm. As that happened, I see my brother slip, fall face first in the manure, and my other cousin is being like, there are goats all over the place, and he's trying to basically maneuver around them, and he's covered from the head to toe in manure. And we're sitting in the truck like, oh my God.
So the harvesting facility was the place to be.
Oh yeah, we were like, thank God we didn't end up there, and they were so miserable.
Hatim, first of all, that's a really crappy story. Sorry.
Good.
That was a Captain Ron joke right there. So I love that, and we've got a family farm back in California in Salinas, so I know exactly what you're talking about. I grew up throwing dried cow patties like frisbees out in the field.
Exactly.
I say, that's what you do on the ranch. But so listen, I found out about you guys really through Dave and the partnership that we did with Team Art of Flame, and I had goat before. I used to do a lot of traveling in my previous job out to Jamaica, would have a lot of, curry goat and so forth. But I don't think I'd ever actually cooked goat before I got a package from you guys, and I'll tell you what, and this is kind of going, you guys know this, but this is going out to everybody else. If you haven't cooked goat, if you haven't tasted goat in a while, especially very, really quality stuff, I was blown away. So let me ask you kind of a stupid question, because I think I know, but so where did the name come from? BillyDoe Meats.
Well, that's an interesting story, and I'm sure in the future, this is just an inside joke for us. In about 10 or 15 years, we're going to have some kind of documentary about us, and we're all going to be suing each other as a family because we all argue about where the name came from. But essentially, I remember we were all sitting in the van, me and my uncle, my cousins, and we're all arguing about what the name should be. But essentially what the name comes from is a male goat is called a Billy, a female goat is called a Doe. And that's like farmer jargon for like farmer like nickname stuff for animals. And that's where the name came from, because our specialty is in goat and lamb. We, like I said, we do it all, but that's our specialty.
Those are your two big ones. Yep.
Yeah. And that's where the name comes from.
Nice.
Just remember that when we're suing each other in the future.
That's right.
Now, much like Craig said there, you guys do. I mean, you guys actually do chicken too, but you do veal, you do lamb, you do. You even have ground beef available now as well. Yeah. But before I met you guys too, I was ignorant to goat, and was surprised like Craig with goat, and now it's one of my as well as good for us. But tell us some more of the benefits about goat, and from even comparing it to chicken. So all of us barbecue guys that eat a lot of red meat, tell us about how good this red meat is.
Well, the thing about goat meat that probably most people don't know, and we've been trying to promote from day one, is that goat meat is a red meat, just like beef and lamb and everything else. But the advantage of goat meat is it's eaten in about 65 to 70% of the world. That's the most common meat in the world eaten, right? Just not as common in the United States. Is considered, people look at it as more like a bison or elk, or even more exotic than that. But the reality is the majority of the world eats goat and eats it normally. In fact, in the Latino community, they eat something called birria, and birria is basically just shredded goat meat in like a broth that's incredible if you've ever had it. So it's very common outside of the United States. And the big benefits about goat is that it's super healthy. So goat meat is leaner and fat than chicken, higher protein than beef. It's lower calories, lower cholesterol, and has higher mineral percentage per 3.5 ounce. So a 3.5 ounce of goat comparable to anything else is almost like a superfood. It's higher in minerals like iron, magnesium, and lower in cholesterol, lower in calories, lower in fat, and higher in protein.
See, Craig, that's important for us barbecue guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy some great red meat and have some that is a little healthier for us at times. It's great to mix in with our regular, round.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that again, that was another thing that I really, until I started cooking it, I looked at your website and started doing some research, I wasn't fully aware of all that. And I think that's awesome to kind of put that in the mix, right? So it's not all beef and pork and so, super healthy red meat. Really quick, guys, we've had a bunch of people join since we started. Guys, I want to implore you to hang on, because we are going to have a live giveaway, $100 gift certificate from BillyDoe Meats in probably another, 15, 20 minutes. So hang on with us, learn more about what they do, and we're going to do this online. And pay attention, because we're going to ask a question. The first one to buzz in with the correct answer is going to win that. So here's my question. So again, love all the lamb, the goat, and so forth. I don't know where this came from, but I love cooking a lot of things. Listen, I love doing briskets and ribs, love that stuff. But I also like doing stuff that kind of people would consider out of the box. And you guys have a pretty good selection of offal in your lineup. right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Liver, brains, heart, tongue, etc. So is that something that you guys, I mean, do you track that by a percentage of business that you do, or what have you guys seen in terms of the trend for, whole animal cooking and so forth, so nothing goes to waste? Have you guys seen an uptick in that as of
Oh.
the last few years?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like when we first started, when we were breaking down, or when we were processing the animals, we always had. I mean, when we first started, we didn't realize that people were ever interested in brains, or people were interested in sweetbreads, suet. We didn't even know what suet was. In fact, I don't even think most people know what suet is. Right?
Right.
We just ended up by accident. Somebody had said, "Hey, you guys sell this? It's the stuff around the kidneys." I was like, "I don't even know what that is." I'm like, "Okay." So we ended up saying, "Okay, let's start offering it and see what people do." And it honestly exploded. Like it became really popular. So I said, "Well, if people like the suet, why don't we offer the kidneys, the heart, the liver, which is a lot of people eat that stuff." And then we started doing brain, tongue, and then after that, we realized that I wouldn't have an exact percentage of how many of the people order, but I can tell you this: there are a lot of people who only order organs. They only
Someone just
order.
mentioned that the lamb suet is like candy. So good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
The lamb suet is like candy. And if you ever smelled like, or if you ever seen sweetbreads or smelled, they literally smell
yeah.
sweet. So
Well,
they're
Yeah.
like,
a lot of it is much like how only in this country we see goat, but people see things and there's a stigma, but once they try it, it's amazing. I mean,
yeah. And the thing about edible offals is that, or like organ meat, is that they're extremely nutritious. They are packed with all kinds of vitamins and nutrients and minerals.
Minerals and yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
they're like super foods. And like liver, everyone's probably had experience with liver and they're just like, oh, it's weird. But there are so many people that there's so many different options between the sweetbreads, the brains, the kidneys, the liver, the heart.
Lamb liver is so good, though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
mild too. So,
Cooking
and
with Zahida, liver, onions, jalapenos. I mean, that sounds fantastic. And by the way, we're not talking about liver cooking kind of like, I don't want to offend moms out there, but I'm just speaking from personal experience, that we grew up in our generation. Sometimes, mom's cooking, liver and onions, and you'd have to, pinch your nose. It's not like that, right? If
no, it's not
again,
like that.
it's like anything. You cook it right, you season it right, and everything, and it's phenomenal. But that liver, onions, jalapenos, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Pickle Charlie from Pickle Cooking. Brain is good fried. I mean, yeah, all that stuff.
yeah.
I love that because it is. I mean, it's truly using all of the animal, right? It's
And the
it's
vitamins
important.
and nutrition. I mean, the nutrients we get. I mean, it's like you said, it's superfood.
And
Yeah,
I can use any more brains, that I can get at this point.
when we first started, we met a farmer that would tell us all the time. He's like, everything on this animal it can be used. He's like, if I could sell the moo, I would sell it.
I like that.
So he basically told us from the beginning, and we just didn't understand, or that there was a market for it. And turns out there is a market for it. So
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
just to move on with you here a little bit, your meats are halal certified.
correct, yeah.
What
Zabiha
does that mean exactly?
So Zabiha Halal means that the animals are hand harvested by someone with the Muslim faith, and then the animal is drained of all the fluids after the slaughter. Then after the slaughter, then it's delivered to the grocery store or restaurant or anything like that. Now, what we've seen is that this process, in our opinion, and the feedback that we've gotten from a lot of our customers over 22 years, whether they're in the Arab community or in the Asian community, the Latin community, in the African community, Polish, Greek, Italian, all these communities we were working with for over 22 years, and a lot of them have told us that the meat has a better quality to it. In fact, there is we got invited about a year and a half ago to a convention in Chicago, and the guy who runs it is some big guy, and the only reason why he invited us is because he found out that our stuff was Zabiha Halal, and he told us he's not of Arab descent. He's actually, I think he's Puerto Rican, if I can remember properly, and he told us that when he travels to New York, Zabiha Halal is like standard across the board over there, and he said that he only eats that when he goes to New York. So, and that's somebody who is not of the Islamic faith, and he
Right.
basically told us that to him the quality tastes different. So,
well, the process that you go through, in my opinion, being someone who tastes it, is great for me just on the quality we end up getting because of it. And I'll say I've been at their facility a few times and seen the most beautiful carcasses of these animals that then all get, I mean, you guys all do hand cutting too. You don't use any.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. So everything we do from top to bottom is hand processed, from the harvesting facility all the way down to Dave. You've been to our small little workshop here, and we don't use any bandsaws. We don't use any machinery. Everything is done with saws and knives. And honestly, when we first started, a funny story is when we first started and we were learning how to process and everything, we went to a big processor. I give them a lot of respect because it's like a third generation processing facility outside of Chicago. And they took the time to sit there and teach us and show us a lot of things so we could understand, because we didn't understand what cuts are and stuff like that, where everything was. And when they broke it down for us, we ended up watching them use the bandsaw, and it was terrifying. And we're just like, like these guys are professionals doing it for 20 years, and they are millimeters away from losing a finger. And I was like, yeah, I'm just not comfortable doing this. And then when we went to another butcher who actually started showing us, he said he's been in business for like 30 years. He says he's never used a bandsaw, and everything comes out cleaner, and the products look much better. And he says that there's much better. You don't get that bone dust. You don't get a lot of that stuff that's on there. And he basically told us, if you want really quality stuff, do everything by hands and knives. So combine the fact that his expertise and the fact that we're terrified of bandsaws is pretty much why we do everything hand processed. And honestly, we plan on doing that forever because, like I said, from the harvesting, that's never going to change, and for our processing, that's what we plan on doing forever.
That makes sense.
Way, go ahead, Craig.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
One thing I was going to mention is a few people had said, and this is the reason why in the barbecue community we wanted to share someone like yourself with them online today, is because few people have said, hey, brains and goat, I'm going to give it a try now that I know where to get it, or I'm going to try some liver now that I know where to find it. And the fun thing is, these are guys that you can trust to get that stuff from and try it, and it's going to be a good experience for you too. So, but go ahead, Craig.
So Hatim, kind of to tail excuse me, on your on the talk about the halal certified. Charlie from Pickle Cooking asked kind of what I think may be on a lot of people's minds, and we talked about this the other day. A lot of similarities, excuse me, between halal and kosher, right?
Yeah, that's my apologies. That's what I wanted to include was a lot of the process of the halal and kosher is almost identical. So we actually have a lot of the Jewish community that we go to farmers markets in, and who actually call us, or they come to the market and they come all the time and saying, they don't even know that we do we don't have it like on signs everywhere. They just come and say, is your stuff halal? And I say, yeah, it is. And they say, okay, I'll buy it. Because in their culture and their tradition, it might not be blessed by a rabbi or a person of faith, but for them, they know or they believe that not only the process, but the quality of it is much better. So in that culture, to them, it's almost the same. I don't want to say it's the same because that would be wrong, but
very similar. A lot of similarities.
The process is very similar to the point where they're comfortable buying our products. In fact, there's a guy who comes every week. Last year, a very nice old man. He used to come, and he'd come with a wad of money and be like, "I want you to take all my money." And he was like a very nice guy, and like I said, in a very predominantly Jewish community, and he was very nice. And like I said, so a lot of people are questioning about what that process of Zabiha Halal is, and that's very similar to the Jewish community when it comes to those kind of process. So, and we believe that really brings out the quality of the meat.
Yeah, excellent. Well, listen, if you need any meat blessed, Dave and I would be happy to bless any of it. We're sold. I've got no qualifications to do so, but what the hell? All right. So my next question, and I think my last question really is, so now do you guys have your own farm or do you source your meats? And I know, especially around lamb, there's a lot of talk about, Australian, New Zealand, domestic lamb, the, flavor profiles and everything. So where do you get your meats from? And talk a little bit about the domestic versus kind of Australian, New Zealand.
Well, this is actually the most important thing, I think, which is the most important topic that we're discussing today, because honestly, all of this quality and all this meat and all this stuff, it honestly starts with our farmers, right? For over 22 years, we've been working with American local family farms and Amish communities for over this whole time from inception. And it's really incredible what these family farms and these Amish communities really do to, this is not just like a job for these people. This is their life. This is their way of life. You know what I'm saying? So to see that and to see that we're supporting, like that was my uncle's, one of his original intentions was we shouldn't be supporting these communities that are outside. There's a lot of people in this country who are dependent on, raising animals in this country. And that's where we start by saying that it all starts with our farmers. And we source the highest quality livestock, for the point that it starts with the farmers. Secondly, we have to give a lot of props to our harvesting facility, because over 20 years they've learned the wrongs and the rights of picking right animals. Right? So right now they can literally look at an animal and look at the hindquarters or look at the teeth of an animal and tell you if it's good quality or bad quality. And they reject animals from the farmers almost every day, because if they don't meet to our standards, then they just basically tell them, take your animal back and you can take it somewhere else or sell this or do that, because it doesn't meet our standards. Right. So that's where we've been sourcing all of our animals from. And why it's important is because we really do believe in supporting our communities here, right? We don't, I believe it's, and I don't want to make up a number, but the majority of lamb and goat is imported from New Zealand and Australia. And if you look into it, a lot of times the animals, the livestock is raised in that area not for the meat, but instead it's raised for the wool, and the meat is a byproduct.
Just secondary, right?
It's secondary. So not to say they don't care or it's lesser quality. I will not say that.
Yeah, sure.
But all I would say is it's not their primary goal. Where these farmers in the United States, they raise their animals for the American public, for that reason, not for their wool. So. Right. They really take pride, and these farmers really take pride in what they do, and they work really hard to this. And that's why it's important for us to bring lamb and goat to these communities, to the masses, because we really do believe that if you taste that, it starts out with these farmers, and then by us selecting the best animals, and then the BillyDoe effect, as Dave calls it, or the Zabiha Halal, really that combination, that triple combination, or that triple approach, we really believe differentiates us from a lot of people and really brings out the quality of the meat and tenderness.
Yeah, listen, I agree. So let me do this before I go back to Dave. I just got to read a few of these comments because they're really good. First Day Barbecue's been throwing out a lot of good stuff here. We have tons of Amish. My neighbors are Amish. Big shout out to the Amish community. Cooking with Zabiha just got some Amish deer jerky, which was amazing. The Carnitarian, I love supporting U.S. lamb ranchers. The taste of BillyDoe meats is much better than New Zealand or Australian lamb, and way less of a carbon footprint. Absolutely. And Cooking with Zabiha comes back with my kids never ate lamb or goat until they tried BillyDoe's meat. No smell to it, whatever. So, that really resonated with me, too, because cooking your lamb a couple weeks ago, the goat a couple weeks ago, and just doing a lamb shoulder today. I think a lot of people may shy away from those kind of meats because they think it's gamey, right? Yeah. And I'll tell you what, guys, it couldn't be farther from the truth. And I think, again, it's getting quality meats from a quality, retailer, wholesaler is the big difference. And I found that the goat that I cooked was far from gamey, and I'll tell you, this lamb was incredible. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Really good stuff.
Well, Pickle
Dave?
Cooking asks, he asked the question, why do you think lamb and goat are less popular in the U.S.? And part of that may be because there is a lot of, say, maybe lower quality product thrown out there. So if it's tried the first time, people don't retry it. Which is why I made a comment to Craig the other day. I said when I ate their lamb even, which was what I was focused on first, and then the goat became a nice secondary thing, which now is one of my favorites. It was like tasting lamb again for the first time. You know, I mean, it was just such a fresh taste where I didn't need to marinate it for days to have it taste good. It was incredible. Their loins just, you know, were just so good with just a little salt and pepper, but I throw a little extra on there but I think that's why when you mentioned why is it not eaten that much here, there aren't that many avenues or areas to maybe get the quality, and that's why people
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Or
said
somebody
very
buy
informative podcast too. See, Craig, that's what happens when we bring someone smart on.
Yeah, I know. They almost wrote us off. They almost wrote us off after last week. So good.
Yeah.
So, Dave, make note of that. Bring in people that are much smarter than us, which isn't really going to be difficult. Yeah. Paul said, Big Paul in the Grill, a good friend of ours, with Greek Easter next week. This is key, right? Need to hook my wife up, who his wife is from Greek descent, with some quality lamb. So Wild Bill's Backyard Barbecue, you can only get it around Easter, unfortunately. No, but here's the deal. You can get it year-round. BillyDoe meats, right?
Well,
yep.
I'll tell you guys, I'm going to ask a question here. And the first person to answer this question, and there's no math.
Is this our big giveaway?
This will be the giveaway.
Okay, pay attention.
So for you guys on live now, you were the only ones who have a chance for this. And then after this, and while we're waiting for someone to give the answer, Hatim, you can tell us, you know, how do people get your meat? Where do they get it? How do they contact you? And hey, can they call you and you talk to them and share with them about the meat, which you're good at doing? But the question is, and first answer gets it. Nope, one's not it. What is the most popular meat around the world?
All right, I'll be watching. First answer that comes up.
Good,
first correct answer. Owen, what's up? Dun, 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 dun.
There we go.
First State Barbecue. Big winner.
Congratulations. Paul and Pickle Cooking right behind, and a bunch of others right behind.
Yep. Paul, Charlie, Brian, you guys are all right, but
now they're guessing other things after they already got it. But it's true, and that's what blows me away is this country, how we don't realize that, and it's such a quality meat when harvested properly. And like you said before, I don't understand the whole process. After seeing it, I was just impressed with what I saw. But I just simplify it to the BillyDoe effect and know that I get good quality stuff. And one other thing that I love about the family business and the way that they make sure quality is what they have, you know, even after he had another farmer where they did all the research, made sure things were great, they're harvesting, they realized it was beautiful. But even after that, he called and said, you know, we have a new Amish farmer we're dealing with. Was that as good as you've been used to? I'm like, it was amazing, you know, so. But that kind of follow-up, those kinds of, that's what they do. That's why they're fun to deal with. You know, if you've got great quality and great customer service, it makes it so much fun. And they're so good to the barbecue community, like even today, giving away a $100 gift certificate so you can try out the meat. And I just appreciate what you guys do, and you make it so much fun to cook with your meat. So
thank you.
Given that said, Craig, I'm going to run things. Why don't you show people what you've been eating and what you cook, and I'll be back in a second.
Absolutely. Well, sorry, guys. I was going to push my camera or my phone back out, but then I realized I only got this little tiny screen anyway. So I got from Hatim and team a beautiful lamb shoulder, and I smoked it today on the Big Green Egg. I will put up videos, and well, I've been teasing on stories, but you guys can kind of see that. And by the way, that red is just a beautiful smoke ring. So this is about a 3.5 boneless lamb shoulder.
That's beautiful.
that I have been eating this whole time. I've been dipping it in some little homemade tzatziki. Yeah, I made myself a little. I've been dying to eat it, but I've been holding up. Nice little pita with some fresh vegetables, some tzatziki, and the smoked lamb. So as Dave is getting his stuff prepped, it's just pouring out of here. I'm going to take a big old bite. Hopefully that's not rude.
Oh, not at all.
Enjoy.
Hatim, it is so good. So, I'll post how I cooked it, but real simple rub. My regular Fogo charcoal. I did barrel proof bourbon chips actually in here because it's pretty mild. It's not overpowering, and I want to say it took about five hours. Pulled it at about 2:03. It probably could have gone to about 2:05, and let it rest for about 45 minutes. And I'll tell you what, it is phenomenal. The bark was great. The shoulders stayed juicy. I mean, really, really good stuff. So, Hatim, thank you. Dave, what? I see you gloving up over there.
Yeah, I got to tell you, you did the lamb shoulder. I got a goat shoulder. Actually, I got two goat shoulders. I went and grabbed another one from him the other day. So one's right there cooking, probably getting near 165 to where then we'll wrap that one. But I've got one that finished an hour ago. Somehow worked perfect in our timing. I love my Gator cooler. Isn't it nice and fresh in there? All I do is at 165, I wrap it in the butcher paper. And then cook it to about, look at that. Cook it to about,
oh my God.
200. And this literally will just smash up in your hands.
There you go. That's the money shot right there, baby.
The smell of this. If I could only tell you, look at the smoke on that too.
Wow.
I mean, this is so good. But the quality of this is the one that I got yesterday from them that they had just done, and I got to see the beautiful carcasses there as well. And these are just incredibly good. I just want to eat this before even putting it on the crostinis, but I'll show you what I did. And this is a fun, quick appetizer with goat that, again, my kids who initially didn't think they'd like goat at all, the two of them devour these as quick as I can make. But basically, these are, well, that one's for the dog, but these are a little bit bigger than your typical crostinis with the baguettes, so you can see them a little better. But I take my smoked rosemary, garlic butter, and toast those up. Put a little goat cheese on these. Wow. And then some of this beautiful meat, which it's amazing already that I haven't put some in my mouth. But
right? You got willpower. I don't have that.
That might just be stupidity. I should have just put some in right away. But if you look how beautiful that is, and then I typically, I normally make all kinds of my own sauces, but I got to tell you, I just found this new, it's Mimi's Gourmet Pasta Sauce, which is crazy good. So today I didn't have to make my own. I just heated some of that up. And basically I'll just drizzle this on top. And that with the goat cheese and the goat, oh my goodness. And
that looks fantastic.
I don't know if you guys can see that there, but this is a fun, simple appetizer that anyone can do, and you'll impress people, or just make it for yourself, and it's so good.
All right, let's get the bite. Let's get the bite. Let's. There you go.
Oh my goodness. You know, I was telling Craig the other day, you know food's good when you've already made it for yourself before and you know how it's going to taste and you take a bite and you impress yourself. And then when you take the second bite, you're still impressed. That tells you. But getting to work with such good goat to begin with. But look at this here, too. I mean, the smoke on this and so good.
That's fantastic. Well, listen, guys, we're kind of about towards the end of our segment today. So Hatim, thank you very much for joining us. Talking to you the other day. Today, I mean, I've just learned an absolute ton of stuff about, you know, obviously your company, but especially the whole lamb and goat thing. It's absolutely going to be something in our regular repertoire here at the house. But really appreciate you joining us and going through everybody, guys. BillyDoe Meats, Instagram, obviously website. They got a fantastic online store, overnight shipping, second-day shipping, all that stuff. So give them a try if you haven't already. I will First State Barbecue, because do me a favor, once you reach Hatim, if they reach out to you through Instagram, DM, and you guys will hook up the gift certificate. Fantastic job. And before I forget, whether you found us through BillyDoe, through Dave, or myself, make sure you're following all of us. We're going to do this podcast every other week on Thursdays going forward. We've got not next Thursday, but Thursday after. The fantastic gals from Barrel Proof, Smoke Your Bourbon, chips and barrel stay chunks for barbecuing. Don't miss that. I used them for this cook. Dave, I think you used them too.
Not on this one.
Okay.
Normally.
But I know you got them right behind you. Are they still up on your shelf? Come on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So join us then. They're fantastic. Dave, what you got?
Hey, just want to say, hey, Craig, it's always fun to see what you're cooking. That's why it's always fun to be inspired by other people in the barbecue community. Once again, Hatim, thanks for coming and thanks for giving so much to the barbecue community online.
Thank you.
And we do these podcasts and just want you all to also remember, spread love
through barbecue. Absolutely. All right,
thanks,
y'all.
guys.
Have a great day.
Buddy.
Thanks for joining. We'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.